Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Once again, I am back with Jimmy and Deasis, and again, this is the same day, third video, same day. We are working hard for you, so appreciate it, I hope. If it's good, appreciate it. And this time what we wanted to talk about is some of the good things that we learned, ways that we benefited from being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, before you freak out and hit pause and say, I'm never watching this channel again, we're also going to talk about how the Watchtower ruined those things with their gotchas and the way they did not follow what they told us to do, the hypocrisy involved. But not everything was bad, and I think anyone who objectively looks back, who, especially if you're born in or were in for a long time, if you objectively look back over everything that happened while you were a witness, I mean, I haven't met too many people, a few, but I haven't met too many people who can honestly say that it was just absolutely 100% all bad. So we want to talk about some of the ways in which it was positive. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because I think it's important when you're recovering after exiting to be able to look back and rather than say, Watchtower completely ruined everything for me, which you could take that perspective, you can look back and say, yeah, there was a lot of garbage that I could have done without, but at least I've got this, and that I can use. And in some cases, like us, we can use against Watchtower. And I think that's important. So what's the first one, Jimmy? You got the list.
First one we have is honesty.
You want to start us off on that one?
Well, I can. We were always taught from the very beginning that be honest in all things that we do. I know that with me, as I've grown up and older, I do everything I can to try to be honest because I felt like that's just the most important thing to do is just be honest with folks. And
do you feel like that's been part of the reason for your success as... Because you sell insurance, and most people think of, any kind of industry like that is dishonest. Do you think that's why you've done so well?
Yeah. I mean, in the insurance business, there is a thing called errors and omissions. It's kind of like, doctors have the malpractice insurance. Errors and omissions is the malpractice insurance for insurance agents, I guess, or protection. I've been selling insurance since 1995, and I've never had errors and omissions. And the reason I don't carry it, well, one, it's an extra cost, and I just don't want to spend the money. It is a tax write-off, however, so maybe I need to think about that. But I say the same thing over and over again to my customers, and I am so honest with them that I don't have to make up things to get a sale. And if a customer asks me, well, Jimmy, how much money do you think I'm going to make off this claim? I'm going to tell them, look, I don't know, and I'm not going to make it a practice to tell you what you're going to receive.
Right.
Because I don't want to be held liable for what I tell you and it comes out to be wrong. So in my business, honesty is huge. I mean, you gotta be able to have these folks trust you when you're selling an intangible. And that's one thing that I can say Watchtower did teach me. I mean, I probably would have learned it somewhere else if I grew up in another religion, just to be honest, because that's just something that everybody should do anyway.
Yeah, we're not saying that Watchtower is better in these ways than other people.
Yeah, they don't have a patent on honesty.
Right, exactly.
So, but in our experience, that's what we were taught. Be honest in all things, and that's how it's helped me in my career.
Has that had any impact with you, Deasis?
Honesty... honesty is definitely a good thing. It's not really something that I've struggled with, per se. I could think of another point, or something that might have been good as far as it goes with Watchtower.
Before, I want to hear that, and we'll talk about that next, but before we do, let me give my take on the honesty thing, because I agree. I was taught to be honest. Not just by Watchtower, but by my father, but he was an elder forever. And so it came kind of through that channel. But it helped me in my job a lot, just like it did with you. Because people knew, my managers, my bosses, when I used to work for other people, they knew that they could trust me. Like even early on, one of my first jobs as a teenager, they would let me open the store. because they knew they could trust me to be on time. They knew I wasn't going to take anything. They knew I was an honest, trustworthy person from way early on. And in a variety of jobs, it's been the case. And part of it gets into another thing we're going to talk about, that I would speak my mind even if it wasn't something that they wanted to hear. So I do agree that honest and forthrightness we were taught, although Watchtower does not follow themselves. And that, before we get into the next point, I do want to say that they are not honest with people. And you had an example of that. What was it? Jeffrey Jackson.
Oh, the Jeffrey Jackson, yeah.
Well, he applies to a number of these points. But
Yeah, he
also
does
the honesty
actually.
point.
Yeah, honesty, courage.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I hate to rehash it because I'm sure everybody has seen it, but the video of him being asked if he feels like we are or they are God's only organization, and then he says it's presumptuous for us to say that.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
That's not honest.
That's not honest. That is
we've
not
been taught.
that is
Yeah.
not honestly
Yeah.
what you believe, Mr. Jackson.
And another one, when they wrote to all the kingdom halls a letter to the elders, where they were only supposed to read the first page and keep the back page, and they told, oh yeah, we're going to take care of your kingdom halls. We're going to do all the remodeling. We're going to cancel your loans, and you're going to be able to have all this stuff done through us. And then they went and sold the kingdom halls out from under people. That's not honesty.
No.
That's not honesty.
You know what? One thing I just noticed, I saw it on Facebook, I think it was yesterday. Somebody put up a post that talked about when they're doing cart witnessing, when the publisher's doing cart witnessing, that if anything happens to someone else or whatever, somebody trips over a cart or whatever, that responsibility falls on that publisher.
Really?
You're kidding me.
No,
I did not know that.
You did not know that.
I want to
Okay.
see that.
Maybe if we can figure out a way to link that
Yeah.
in the description
Yeah,
below.
sure.
But yeah, there's something that came from Watchtower. It's got Watchtower letterhead. It says "Dear brothers and sisters," and it talks about them having to pay some money for like liability insurance or something like that.
So they're already working for free.
Yes,
For Watchtower.
But if someone gets
Hey,
hurt
you
at
pay
a
your own
cart,
insurance.
yeah, if
You
someone
can sell
wouldn't
that to him, Jimmy.
yeah, it was in there.
No, we'll put a link to it.
Yeah,
in the
we'll put a link
description
into
for
it.
sure. Yeah,
It's crazy.
So we were taught to be honest, but they weren't leading by example. That's for sure.
No.
All right, second point. What was the one that you were gonna?
Yeah, no, I was just going to talk about the sense of brotherhood. I think that, if I had to think about good things about being in the organization, one thing that particularly appealed to me that I liked was the sense of brotherhood that you were taught and encouraged to have. We were trained, even if superficially, to stand united with our brothers and sisters, to look after them, to care for them, to have even somewhat of a us versus them mentality, which I think is good in the sense of providing for them first, looking out for your family first, as it were, and the organization and your brothers and sisters in the Kingdom Hall being your family. So that sense of brotherhood and standing by your brother or sister's side, even willing to sacrifice your life for them and to give them your time and your energy and your devotion. I mean, to me, those were good things. Those are things that I even carried into my activism now. The whole united, we are one, whether we're, as we talked about earlier, aggressive activist or regular activist. We are united.
Yeah.
We're a brotherhood.
And I did experience that as well, the United Brotherhood, because when I was younger, we got shipped to Japan in 1985, and then when we went there, we searched out the Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, and then it just felt like, hey, we're in this new foreign land, we don't really know anybody, but yet there's our brothers and sisters,
Right.
and that was kind of cool. And then I always was proud of the organization. Whenever I went out in field service or talked to somebody, I'd say, yeah, you know what? I can leave right now and go to Romania and it'll be the same Watchtower lesson. It's so united. And the organization likes to point that out.
Right.
That, hey, we're in 240 lands
Right.
and everybody is united. But Oh, do we want to get into the
Yeah,
counterpoint?
but before we get to the counterpoint,
Okay.
I want to make the similar statement
Okay.
because I've been to other countries. I've been to Kingdom Halls in France, and I've been to these places and seen, wow, yeah. And as soon as you walk in the door, hey, everybody's like they knew you. They find out you're a witness living somewhere else. They're happy. I went to Arizona on a vacation once, and I took a balloon ride, which is really awesome. You ever take
Yes.
a balloon
Yeah,
over
yeah,
Sedona? That is,
cool.
woo,
Yeah.
that is an amazing
You did Sedona?
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was
Yeah,
at.
amazing experience. Well, I got there that morning. You had to get up way too early for me, not being a morning person, but I wanted to do it so bad, so I showed up at like 6 o'clock. And they're getting the balloons ready and they're heating them up. And I just start chatting with people, because that's another thing they taught us, just to be able to talk to people. And I found out that a whole group that was getting in one of the balloons, they were all witnesses. And so I started talking to them, and we're just chatting like we knew each other forever and hitting it off and all that. And it seemed really great at the time. And you know what? It is a good thing to have a common interest with someone and to be able to know that you can get along with people, even if you don't know them very well yet, because you have a common interest. The problem, the counterpoint, is the fine print. That's the problem, because that brotherhood comes with serious strings attached. It's like you said, you used the word, I think, superficial.
Yeah.
It is superficial, because
Unfortunately.
if you ever decide you no longer believe some point taught by the governing body and speak that openly, you will be called into the back room, you will be counseled, and if they have to counsel you multiple times, it's in the Shepherd the Flock of God book, you're to be kicked out.
That's it.
You cannot have your own opinion. So yeah, it's united, but there are serious strings attached.
But not only in that regard too, but if you looked in Crisis of Conscience, this was one of the first things that woke me up to the United Brotherhood. They had different rules for what happened in Malawi
Right.
versus what happened in Mexico.
Yep.
If it was a United Brotherhood, there would have been the same admonition or instruction given to both countries,
Yeah.
but it differed. And that right there, I was like, well, that's not being united. How can you do one thing for one set of brothers and allow, destruction and mayhem to happen to the other set of brothers and sisters? So that right there was one thing that I was like, "Ew, I don't know about that."
And just like the honesty point, like you said, they don't have the market, or however you worded it, on honesty. Witnesses don't have the market on being united either.
No,
I've been to all
no.
kinds of people who go to Comic-Con and
Oh.
have the same, anyone who's got the same interest. I've been to an atheist meetup here in town, well, Winston-Salem. 'Cause you live way out in the beautiful country, I live in Winston-Salem. They got along great. And when I walked into that group, even though I'm not an atheist, just because we had a lot in common, because I'm a software developer, I love science and technology and stuff like that, and so did they, instantly hit it off with them too. Any group of people that has something in common feels a sense of camaraderie and togetherness. That is a very good, positive thing. It's because we're all human,
Yeah.
right? And we can do that. So they pretend it's just them, but it's not just them.
Yeah, no, I'd actually like to add to that. John is right in the sense that there's unity within groups, even if those groups are not necessarily religious. Anybody who knows me knows I'm into classic cars. I like a lot of the classic Japanese cars, and I can tell you this. I was part of a group called the StarQuest group, StarQuestClub.com. And conquest lovers, Starion lovers alike, will literally stick together like a group. And you can break down literally 500 miles from here. And we in the group will be like, all right, well, hey, I'm on my way now to give you tools and help you work on your car, get it fixed. Hey, man, I got some extra parts. You can have them for free. You know what? Why don't you stay with me for a couple of days while we're working on it? So, yeah, I mean, like John said, you can find unity within groups, even ones that
Anywhere.
aren't religious.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
It's just anything, if you have something in common that you're really passionate about and love, you'll find other people who are willing to go way out of
True
their
story.
way for you. That's fact.
Yeah.
I feel like, we have a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You know?
Which of us wouldn't get up and go do, and I have.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
up to his stuff.
Yeah.
That's what friends do.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not unique to Watchtower. And what's the next one we got?
Research.
Research. See, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We were taught to study and deep dive. It's interesting because they did want us to study everything, all the references, all of that, but they didn't want us to go too far back.
Yeah.
But they did teach us to read and research and prepare material and arguments and points.
They taught us well.
They taught us well, and it's backfired because now
Trained
we
us
do
well.
that. We go outside their stuff, and we go as far back
Yeah,
as we
train.
want and find the reality. But I did find, like all through school, I was better when it came to research essays and stuff like that than most of the other people I knew. And I don't think that was just because of natural talent. I think it's because like every week
We were trained how to
we
do
were
it.
trained to research
Yeah.
in a way that most of the other people that I knew.
That's why I've seen a lot of JW kids. We most all that I knew got really good grades in school.
Yeah, they
Because-
usually were.
Yeah, because they did their homework. They did what they were supposed to do because that's what they were taught by the organization. Do
Right.
what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So research. We know how to do that.
Yeah.
Except the only thing is with Watchtower, you can't research anything but Watchtower.
Yeah, that's the counterpoint.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to look outside their material, which of course is ridiculous.
And even a lot of times, if they don't call it out directly, they strongly discourage any kind of dissenting opinion from the governing bodies. What do they call it? Current opinion.
Right.
So if it deviates from that, even if they've changed it in the past, even if you can easily refute it, you need to stay away from that. You need to be careful. You need to stay with Jehovah's organization.
Right. Even if the research leads you in the other direction.
Yeah.
It's like I said before in one of the previous videos when I was still in and I had a legitimate question about 607. I didn't know it was this big whole ordeal. I had no clue. And then the circuit overseer says, "Oh, you can look it up just as well as I can." And I'm like, okay. But I'm only allowed to use Watchtower.
Right.
And that's when it clicked for me to go look somewhere else.
Right.
And then, once that happened, here we are.
Well, tied to that is the next one, which is what?
Speaking?
Speaking. Yeah, because tied to the research of speaking, at least for me, being a brother and a servant and giving talks and parts all the time, I learned from a very early age, 8 years old. I started.
Wow,
I remember my first talk in the old Kingdom Hall that was in a neighborhood in Port Arthur, Texas. And I remember wearing a corduroy coat with patches. You remember the patches on the
old
elbows?
school.
Remember those
Oh,
stuff? And I remember wiping my
Anchorman.
nose the whole time because I'm nervous as hell trying to read from the Bible. First,
You were
first,
8?
I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if that's when they started it.
How old were you?
You came in a little later.
Yeah, you
right?
came in later.
Yeah.
I did. I wasn't raised a witness. No, my first talk was. This is the funny part actually. My first talk was in the year 2000, February 2000. So I think I was 16 or 17, and they didn't tell me that they were going to clap. And so when everybody started clapping, I go like
You as an
I'm on
introvert freaked out.
Right.
Well, and coming from a rough neighborhood too, it's like.
Oh, the
I didn't know,
noise.
I heard a bunch of popping, and it's like, whoa, yeah. So I'm on camera, while, giving this talk, and then going to walk off stage, and everybody's clapping. And I'm like
freaking out.
freaking out. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, it was
But
bad.
that was a good thing. And I say it again, it helped me through school. It helped me in my job when I had to make presentations. I learned to create an argument for things. You get the introduction, you make your points, you have your wrap-up conclusion, use of illustrations, being on time. Though some brothers never did learn to be on time, that's for a fact. It was a good, positive skill. And I don't really have a counterpoint to that one, but it's definitely backfired. on them, because now we use those same skills we were taught
Yeah.
to turn around and show people why they're hypocrites and why what they do is damaging and destructive and dishonest.
Train their enemies.
Really. And I wonder, and it's just, I don't know, but I wonder if that's why they don't emphasize the school like they used to in the past couple of years.
I've wondered that because I was still in when they've made all the changes and got rid of the school.
Yeah.
They're not.
Is that why?
Really?
What do you think? Leave a comment. Do you think that's why? Or does anybody have any insider knowledge about
It's not
that?
really.
I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it seems to me that when so many people started speaking out, like that's when it happened. That they know more.
They just taught us. Well, we were trained how to do
They
that.
were trained
again.
how to do it. Yeah. But I don't know. That's pure speculation.
Well,
on my
that
part.
goes right into communication too.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. We were taught to be able to speak to people not just from a stage, but just in general.
Well, I'll go ahead and start on that one.
Yeah, sure.
I know for me personally, the communication and the speaking skills has been a huge help for me. Because when I went to my interview in 1994 to be an insurance agent, and the guy says, "Oh, it's selling insurance door to door." I'm like, man, I got this wrapped.
Yeah.
This is not a problem.
Yeah.
That was easy.
And so, and because of those skills that I learned, again, I could have learned them anywhere else, but for sake of argument, this is where we learned them at Watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
It has helped me in my career. I can communicate with people. I can bring out points. I can do what they call sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Right.
You know, and it's I have no problem talking to anybody.
I'd like to actually, touch on that point too. Communication is also something that I learned at the Kingdom Hall and through Watchtower. Good communication, mainly in the realm of relationships. A lot of the relationship articles on communication were actually really good.
Yeah.
I mean, to say they were bad, I'm sorry, is just wrong. I mean, it would say, listen to, your friends and to your mate with interest, don't think about what you want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
don't
did. They
think
would
about
say
it.
that.
Yeah. Don't think about what you want to say, tactfully listen to them, and try to understand where they're coming from. So, I will say this for Watchtower. A lot of the relationship articles, and I don't agree with all of them, but for the most part, I think we're actually very good and practical information, to be honest.
And again, the problem, it's not what they taught in those regards, it's that they didn't apply it to themselves.
Yeah.
Because governing body would never listen to you. They would never give an open hearing ear to people who have a different opinion than them.
Try
They
going
would
to a
never do
judicial
that.
meeting.
Yeah, I've been there. Elders don't listen to you. There's no, well, tell us your thoughts. No, there's none of that.
No.
It's not like that
No,
at
I
all.
just experienced that 3 days ago.
But yeah, exactly. But it might surprise people who are watching to know that I'm an introvert. I'm not an extroverted person. Like when I go to a gathering like the XJW meetup group, when I go home, I gotta rest.
Yeah.
I gotta recover from dealing with so many people. And people have told me all my life, really? You're introverted? You don't come off
get
as
that too.
introverted. Because I was taught to be able to speak. So I quickly overcame my internal natural shyness. I didn't really have a choice. I had knocking on this door. I better be able to not freeze when they come.
Yeah.
No, I'm with
And
you on
it
that
did
one.
help. It really
Yeah.
did help. I still have
true.
to go home and recover, recharge the batteries, but I can do it. And that's helped me all through life. So that's not a negative thing. But again, it's the gotcha that they don't apply what they teach you.
Yep.
They don't apply listen to other people with interest. Pay attention. Don't tell them they're wrong, because they used to tell us that. Don't tell people at the door, "Oh, you're wrong, and here's why." No, listen to what they have to say. Reason. Be kind on all that.
In talking about that, I want to just go back to research for a second.
Sure.
I hate that I'm jumping back there, but when someone has a Bible study, they are told by that Bible study conductor, do research on your religion. Look it up, find everything
Yes.
out about them. And but again, the counterpoint argument
Yeah.
with Watchtower, we
Just
can't-
not ours.
We can't do that.
Don't do that to us.
Yeah. So that's just I just thought about that. So
No, that's a good point. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought it up.
yeah.
All right, we got one more, and I'm sure there are others, and be sure to put yours in the comments if you have different ones, but we got one more.
Two more.
Two more.
Two more.
What's
we,
the other one?
We actually skipped courage.
Courage. That's important.
Whew, wow.
What did they tell you? Be bold.
Be courageous.
And they used to read that scripture in
That
Acts.
applies to you, Jeffrey Jackson, especially.
Right. Yeah, he totally wussed out on the stand. There's no
Tony.
question about that.
But
Yeah.
but as far as the good thing, being courageous, standing up for what you believe, we're definitely doing that.
Yes.
We learned that from Watchtower. Thank you.
Mhm.
Because it does take a lot of courage to go door to door.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
There's so many people that can't do it. They actually have anxiety attacks because they're out there trying to do something that they don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
Um,
not like we're going door to door to tell people they've won $1 million.
right.
We're going to tell them that they
They're
need
wrong.
to change their religion.
Yeah, they're wrong.
The
they're
end of the world is coming.
You're
you know,
not
that-
bringing a very positive message.
No. So if you're
more
not
popular.
really courageous, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You just and being an introvert, it was never easy for me. But I used to tell myself, because I read this quote, and it's a great quote, but it wasn't from Watchtower, that courage isn't a lack of fear; it's overcoming the fear and doing it anyway.
So true.
And I used
Yeah.
to tell myself that it's okay that I have an aversion to doing this because I'm an introvert, but it shows courage. And of course, I thought God was helping me. Oh, Jehovah's helping me with the Spirit. It showed courage to get to the door and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that has helped me in many other areas in life, because I
Yep.
tell myself the same thing, even now. Okay, when people were telling me you should get on camera, because I didn't like that. They didn't want to be on camera at first.
Well,
And you'll notice my old videos
yeah,
are never on
that's true.
camera.
No.
I always just showed pictures.
Just
and
did
talk.
voiceovers.
You did.
Voiceovers,
Yeah.
that's it. But people kept telling me you need to get on camera. Why do I need to get on camera? Because people can relate to you more if they see you speak. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it. I'm an introvert. I don't like the idea of myself being on camera. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
And just like I had boldness as a witness and knock on the door, I did it and the result was good. It's been very positive.
Yeah.
So it's not a negative thing, but they don't apply it to themselves. And we're like, we're cracking
Hell
on.
no.
Good old Mr. Jackson.
I tell you what, he really did himself.
You failed us, man.
He did a, he did a
Big
number
time.
there.
Yeah.
That was not courageous at all.
One of the guys that I've interviewed on my channel, Efren Rivera,
Yeah.
he actually, and I love this, in his interview, he thanks Tony Morris. He's like, because of you and the stuff that you've said, I left. And it's like, and he says, and I love this, he says, I hope the governing body keeps saying all the stuff that they're saying. Because the more they say and act like that and show cowardice and all these, the more they do that, the more people are going to wake up and leave.
Yep.
We'd like
So-
to thank you for helping the apostate army.
You've been a great asset.
We
to the
appreciate
best
the
of-
work that you do, Tony.
Great asset to us apostates.
So the next subject is skills.
Skills. Last subject.
Yeah, the last one for now.
What have you learned?
Well, most of my skills would have been in the communication, speaking, not being afraid to talk to anybody. That's been the biggest thing that has helped me. Then again, you've had the quick builds and you can learn a little bit of, construction stuff there.
That's true.
That's kind of cool. I have actually put a question out on Watching Watchtower about what did folks really learn from being in the organization, and one guy mentioned that he learned how to do the audio video stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, me
because
too.
okay.
Yeah,
he
me
ran
too.
he ran the sound system at the Kingdom Hall, and he actually, when he went to Quick Builds, he was helping put it in. And so he learned how to do that, and I think that's his career now. I mean, you can really appreciate the fact that there are some things that people have learned through the quick builds and different things like that have helped them out, later in life.
Yeah, I got sent when I lived in Louisiana. They sent me around to different halls to set up their AV stuff, their audio, video. Well, of course, we didn't do video back then. The audio equipment.
Cool.
And I'm sure the brothers in Bethel that are going there and they're 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm sure when they go up there, they're exposed to so many different things
Yeah, it's
that
true.
they can learn that can help them down the road.
Yeah.
So
I learned a lot of basic things
That's kinda cool.
about
Yeah.
construction, how to do basic maintenance on things, how to build, my wife, Beth, she's an artist. For a while, I was making her canvases and just those basic construction skills, and in particular, the working with electricity. Because that's what I always was interested in, so
Yeah.
that's where they would send me, and so I would run the wires and hook up the switch boxes and all that. And that was a good thing to have a basic understanding of that, so if something breaks at home, I'm not completely out of my element, If it's too complicated, that's still going to call somebody, but those things aren't bad. Again, Watchtower doesn't have the market on that. Other people
No.
learn that from their parents or whatever they do. But it was a good thing. It was a good thing that we learned that. I can't complain about it. But the counterpoint is, you were never paid for doing any of that stuff. And the things that you built for Watchtower and what they used it for was negative.
Well, I
To
think about
indoctrinate
something,
people
too.
with these very negative policies.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about something too, skills. I mean, talk about a two-edged sword here. So they teach you skills, but they also discourage you from getting any kind of proper education,
Higher
Yeah.
education.
and learning skills.
skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, but I don't think it has anything to do with the skills when it comes to the no higher education thing. I think it's the critical thinking.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
they're afraid of.
that makes sense.
They would
Yeah.
love to have doctors and lawyers, and because they need lawyers right now, they would love to have more of those kinds of people. Plus, they'd have more money to give to the Watchtower, but they know that with those skills come critical thinking skills that very few people, once they learn, will stay. I mean,
Right.
how many
And
doctors
then-
did you know that were witnesses? I knew one. How
Oh,
many
wow.
attorneys? I knew like two.
Well, the thing is too. I mean, once you do all that and you're that successful, you realize you don't even need them in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no.
And then you deal with
Counterproductive.
a lot of people in these professional environments, and there's a lot of cognitive dissonance there when you see that they're not like what Watchtower claims.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of that. All right. Well, so there's our list. Was honesty, the brotherhood, courage, research, public speaking, communications, and skill sets. Those are some good things.
Yeah.
And Beth did a video that wasn't dissimilar to this on her channel, Stop the Shunning. 10 things I liked about Jehovah's Witnesses and 10 things I didn't. And she made that point a lot. It's not that they didn't have good things. It's that they would have the good thing, but the good thing always came at a cost,
Yeah.
or they sabotaged the good thing in one way or another. And that's
Amen.
the problem. If they could get rid of that other stuff and just keep the good things, it wouldn't be so bad.
It's like the book studies. The book studies, I thought, and from what I hear from a lot of people, that was a good thing.
Yeah.
When we went to other people's homes
Yeah.
for the book study, had a little get together
Yeah.
after the study. But Watchtower squashed that
Yeah.
because we don't want everybody branching out and having individual conversations.
Right.
We can't monitor that.
Right.
So that's something
Right.
that and then just little get-togethers. They don't encourage those as
No.
much anymore.
And man, in the early 90s, mid-90s, we
It was-
did that all the time.
Yeah, we had get-togethers every 2 weeks. It seemed like.
Yeah, and as I
Problem
got
is-
old, we used to go bowling every Sunday after the meeting. I remember that.
Yeah.
Problem is, too many people got together and started thinking.
Yep.
Started actually talking
Yeah.
and
They're like, "Hey, what do you think
we're
about
doing,
that?"
Yeah, throwing ideas around. Whoa,
Some of the funny stuff, because I guess we can put a little light on this.
Yeah, sure.
When I put this out on Watching Watchtower, some people came back and said, I learned how to run mics. I learned how to clean a bathroom. I learned how to do all these crazy things.
Right.
I thought that, I was like, oh my goodness, y'all are killing me.
Yeah, clean a bathroom.
That was
Well, you must have
funny.
been a sister if you learned that, because that's all they let sisters do.
Yeah.
Clean the bathroom.
Yeah.
Terrible.
There were some funny things that they said in there. It was great.
Yeah. But and one last thing I'll say, and I don't, maybe this is just my nature, but you mentioned being humble, and it did teach me humility.
Yeah.
I was a servant, I was giving talks, I was doing all that. I employed a whole bunch of people in the congregation, but I had no problems cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
When it came time, I would
awesome.
clean the hall. It didn't bother me at all. But then I saw my dad do that too, because he loved to take care of the hall because he genuinely thought of it as God's house. And so it mattered to him. So I kind of just inherited that. None of that bothered me. I never mind. I still don't mind doing what some people might call menial things. I don't care.
Yeah.
We got to do it. Let's do it. And that humility, that willingness to just do what needs to be done, that's not a bad thing. But again, the counterpoint is Watchtower misuses that humility, those humble people, to do things that they should not be having them do that hurt their own interests.
Exactly.
And that's always the problem.
Yeah.
A lot of good things, but they always ruin it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a good list.
Yeah.
If you have your things that you learned that were positive and how Watchtower ruined it, please leave a comment and let us know. Or if they didn't ruin it, if you legitimately got something good from it, let us know. We want to hear it. We want to be balanced and reasonable here. As always, if you like the video, be sure to click like. Don't forget to subscribe. And hit that little notification icon, because if you don't hit that icon when I release a new video, YouTube won't let you know, and I'd hate for you to miss out. And as always, Jimmy DeAces, thank you very much for coming. Very much appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
And thank you very much for watching.